So I saw this apron cape top sitting pretty on IG and I was like, I'm going to make this one. Oh, like it was really nice. I actually, saved the picture to like make it, and of course, I needed to show you guys. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Cisca, and in today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this apron cape top. It is actually very, very simple. You just need, a yard of fabric, except you have like a very, very broad shoulder up to 20 inches. You will need just a little more than a yard. So guys, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please click the subscribe button and click the bell so you get updated when I post new videos. And guys, if you are liking my hair, it's actually my natural hair. I have a YouTube channel for that. You're going to see the name right here on the screen. Please show me some love on that channel. Subscribe to that channel if you are interested in, natural hair content. And now let's get right into our sewing tutorial. When making this apron cape top, all you need is just your shoulder measurement and of course the length that you want the cape top to be. Those are the only two things that you need. And you want to get a fabric, if you're using Ankara fabric, you want to get Ankara fabric that is printed on both sides. What this means is that you cannot differentiate the front from the back. And the only way you can, differentiate it is most times by the written print. You will see that what I have right here on the inside is the front, and what I have right here folded that you can see is the back. So if I should place it on top of each other, you possibly cannot even tell the difference. You want to get an Ankara fabric like this, like I said, that is printed on both sides, so that by the time you sew and wear it, the inside is not looking like the wrong side. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So get a very, very nice Ankara fabric, and you just need just a yard of fabric. Just 1 yard. So guys, my shoulder measurement is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Like I said, just your shoulder measurement. So I've cut my fabric to that measurement, to that 7.5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and measure that for you to see. And as you can see, we have 7.5 inches right here. So I have 7.5 inches right here. It is on fold. Let me explain what I mean. So I folded my fabric into two like this. Can you see? Right here is the folded edge. And what I did was to fold it again. The reason why I did this is such that I can cut the front and the back at the same time. So it's going to make, cutting process very, very fast. So that is why I folded it this way. So you want to go ahead to do that for yours and make sure that at the end of the day, the double fold that you are making is, your shoulder measurement divided by 2. And what I have here is 7.5 inches. My shoulder measurement is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 inches. So what I'm going to do next is to mark, my top line. So I'll just come right here at the top, just draw a straight line like this. What I'm now going to do is determine, the neckline for both the front and the back. So for the back neckline, I'll be going with 1 inch. I don't want it to be, really up my neck. So I'll just go with 1 inch from this top line that we marked. Do you understand? So I'll mark 1 inch downwards like this. You can go with half an inch. That is definitely, up to you. And then for the front, I'll be going with 4 inches. So I'll come right here and mark 4 inches. So I'm now going to come to this top line now, and then I'll be marking neck width of 3.5 inches. Did you see that? So I'll just come right here, connect my front neck depth now. I'll connect it with a curve to this 3.5 inches that we marked here. Then connect my back neck depth of 1 inch. I'll connect it to this 3.5 inches that we, marked here. So did you see that? So what I'm going to do now is come to this part right here where we have, like the side seam. Let me put it that way. I'll be marking half an inch downwards for shoulder slant, okay? And then once I do that, I'll be connecting this half an inch to my, neck width right here. Do you understand? So I'll just connect it like this. So after marking our neck width of 3.5 inches, this is what we have, right? So the remaining parts that we have here is what? 4 inches. We are going to be using 3 inch for the shoulder and 1 inch for seam allowance at the side. Do you understand? That's why I said cut your shoulder measurements divided by 2. Don't add anything, don't remove anything. Mark it on your fabric, cut it out. Out of that, you are going to be using 1 inch for, hemming allowance at the side. Does that make sense? So when cutting your fabric, just use your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Shikina. What I'm now going to do is to add 1/2 inch seam allowance to, the neckline for the back, add 1/2 inch seam allowance for my shoulder slants. Do you understand? I can also go ahead and, add 1/2 inch seam allowance for the front. So I'll just go on to just mark it like this. So can you see what I'm doing? So this is what I have for the front right here. I'll come right for the back as well. Do the same thing. I'll now be connecting the back seam allowance for the neckline, connect it to this seam allowance that we just marked here. So I'll just connect it like that. Very, very simple. And then I'll, add my 1/2 inch for the shoulder slant like this. So can you see? So this is what I have. Here is my shoulder slant, here is my back neckline, and then here is my front neckline. We are going to be cutting this part by the seam allowance. So what I'm going to do now is determine the length of this blouse that we are making. So what I'm going to do is place my tape rule right at the top line. Place it at the top line. Do you understand? Not at your seam allowance. So after placing it, I'm going to mark the length, and I'll be going with 38 inches. So you can go with any length that you want. You can go with something longer than 38 inches. You can go with something, shorter than that. It depends on you. So I have 38 right here. I'll be adding 1 inch for hemming allowance. That is what? 39 inches. So I'm just going to come right here now, mark 39 inches across, and this is where we are going to be, cutting our fabric. Do you understand? So what I'm now going to do is to go on to cut this part out, and then I'll go on to cut my neckline, the back first. Very, very important. Don't cut the front, cut the back. If you cut the front first, you'd have messed it up. So cut the back neckline first, and then cut the shoulder slants. So guys, remember that we folded our fabric, so we still have another place to cut out, which is this folded part, so that we can, separate our front from the back. So I'll just go on to, just cut this out now. So please, when you are cutting, don't make the mistake of cutting your center front and center back. Don't make that mistake. If not, you'd probably have ruined your outfit. Make sure you are cutting where you have, your shoulder slants. Do you understand? Use that as a guide to cutting, that folded part out. So now that I'm done with this, I'm going to remove the back. Can you see? And then what I'm now going to do is to cut, the front neckline following this seam allowance mark that I've made previously. So I'll just go ahead and cut my front neckline out now. So now that I've cut the front, I'm going to, keep this bodice part aside, and we'll be cutting the belt piece. I have cut my belt strip, and this is what I have. My belt strip is measuring 2.75 inches in width, and the length is 27.25. You can make that 28. It actually depends on what you want. You can go with a shorter belt strip. You can go with a longer belt strip. I went with this length because I want to, tie this into like a bow at the side of my body. So that's why I'm going with this length. So it's inclusive of, 1/2 inch seam allowance at both ends and seam allowance at this width part as well. So I just want to quickly show you guys how I'm going to, fold it and sew into a belt. So I'll just grab one piece like this, and this is what I have, right? So what I'm going to do is to fold in the top by 1/2 inch. Do you understand? You can actually, use your pressing iron to press this down so it is actually, going to stay in place. Fold the top by 1/2 inch, fold the bottom by 1/2 inch. So I folded the bottom, I folded the top. What I'm now going to do is to, fold it into two like this. Like I said, you just need your pressing iron beside you so you can press this down. The reason why I'm saying you should press this down is so that you can get the midpoint of the fabric. Do you understand? It will help you to fold, you know, the rest in. So after folding it into two, this is what I have. Now what I'm going to do is to fold this part now. I'll fold it to the middle where we, you know, folded initially. I'll just fold it in like this. So can you see? Can you see what I have right here? Then I'll fold this part in as well to the middle. So when I fold it like this, I'll now fold this over. Very, very simple. And then I'll stitch the top, stitch this open end here, do it, you know, all the way down to the other end. And then I'm going to seal up this bottom part as well, making sure that, of course, you fold in your fabric to the midpoint. So once you fold it, you seal up this part as well. And I'm also going to run a stitch, you know, at the folded edge. So that is what I'm going to do for all my 4 belt pieces, everything that I've just explained. So guys, after sewing my belt pieces up, this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is to grab my front and back bodies that we have cut out. And what I'm going to do is to place them on top of each other with right sides touching, because we want to sew the shoulder seams. So I'll just go on to place it on top like this. So what I'm going to do now is to go on to sew the shoulder seam by a 1/2 inch seam allowance, joining the front to the back. I'll do the same thing for this other side as well. So I'll just go ahead and do that. So after sewing the shoulder seams, what you need to do is to go on to test this to see if your head can pass through. So if your head cannot pass through, you can make an adjustment to, you know, the width of the neckline or the depth of the neckline, particularly the depth at the front. So what I'm going to do is come at the neck width now. I'll just take out an extra, you know, 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and then test it to see if it is actually okay. So I'll mark that 1/2 inch here, can you see? And then I'll just, you know, connect it to the front. I'm connecting to the front first. So I'll just go on, mark another 1/2 inch here, and then just, you know, connect it to the front like this. So I'm not cutting the front first. You need to cut out the back so you don't, you know, cut the back neckline deeper than you are supposed to. So what I'm going to do is to grab my scissors and, you know, just trim off the back first. So can you see what I'm doing? I'll just trim off the back first. I don't want to make any mistake with the back. I don't want the back to, you know, go deeper than it already is. So what I've done now was to trim off the back, and then I'll just come right here and then just, you know, trim off the front piece here. So just go on to make that adjustment if your head cannot pass through the neck of your garment, okay? So just go ahead and do that. I'll just come right here now and just, you know, just trim this off like this, okay? And if you feel that you need to go more at the neck depth, all you need to do is mark your 1/2 inch right here, connect it right to this point here. So can you see? Connect it right to this point, connect this part right to this point. You can go on to fold the neckline of the front like this, so you end up, you know, cutting it accurately. Do you understand? So I'll just trim off my own like this. So fold it so that you cut it symmetrical, okay? So guys, I ended up with a neck depth at the front of 5.5 inches. I adjusted it to 5.5 inches because, of course, let my head, you know, pass through this, you know, cloth very easily now. So what I'm going to do is to go and, you know, use a bias tape, run it on the neckline to conceal the raw edges. Do you understand? You can make your bias tape from your own fabric, or you can use an already made fabric bias binding to, you know, conceal the raw edges of the neckline. So I'll just go ahead and, you know, do that. So guys, after, you know, concealing the raw edge of my neckline with my bias tape, this is what I have. So I'll just go on to press this down so, you know, my neckline can lay flat. So I'll do this later. So in order to find where to attach your belt, what you need to do is to go from your shoulder now, where your shoulder point is, just place your tape rule there. And then what you're going to do is to mark your upper waist. That's your natural waistline. So that is the part that when you wear a dress or a fitted dress, it goes in your body or on your body. So mine is 16. So I'll just come right here, mark 16 inches. I'll be going with 16 inches for mine. So I'll just come right here and mark 16 inches. So I'll be marking that 16 inches on both sides, at the front and at the back. So I'll just come right here. This is where I mark the 16 inches. So to do the marking for the other side, what I need to do is to just fold my fabric like this, and then I'll use that marking that is showing here to mark this part at the back. Do you understand? So I'll just going to mark that. I'll do the same thing for the other side as well. This part, I'll place my tape rule right at the shoulder, mark my natural waistline of 16. I said I'm going with 16 for mine. So I'll mark 16 right here, extend it to the edge like this. So can you see what I did? So I extended it to the edge. To mark the back, what I needed to do was just fold my fabric in like this. So I'll just fold it in and then use the marking at the front to mark the back. You can go on to do it one by one. That is definitely up to you. So these markings that I made here at my waistline area is where I'm going to be attaching these belt pieces, okay? So that is where I'm going to be attaching the belt pieces to tie, them on my body. So what I'm going to do now is to go on to hem this side, the raw edge at this point. So I'm going to be folding in my fabric like this by 1/2 inch first, and then I'll fold again by 1/2 inch. Do you understand? And then I'm going to be sewing this down. So when I get to where I made the marking at my waist area, I'll still fold it by 1/2 inch and fold it again by 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is to go on to insert the edge of the belt piece like this. Can you see? So I'll insert it like this and then stitch right on top, okay? So I want to do that so that the edge of the belt piece can be concealed. So that's why as I'm hemming this, I'm going to insert the belt at the waist and then stitch it down. And once I stitch this part down, I'll still bring the belt right outside like this and then stitch the edge of my fabric to, the belt piece so that it is not, having this gaping at this point. I'm going to explain it again as I continue the tutorial. So I'll just go on now to sew the raw edge of this part and then, attach all my belt pieces. So guys, I've hemmed the sides in. And this is what I have. I've hemmed it on all 4 sides. So I inserted my belt like I explained I was going to do. So what I said you should do is to go ahead and, bend your belt and then stitch right at the edge. Do you understand? Stitch right at the edge to hold it in place so that by the time you are tying this, it is not, pulling this part of the fabric. So just go ahead and do that for yours. I've hemmed the bottom of my blouse as well. So I'll go on to sew the belt pieces like this right at the edge of the outfit. And that's it, guys. That is it for this outfit. It is very, very simple. If you decide that you do not want to, hem in the edges, you can make your own fabric bias out of, the fabric and then use to, conceal the raw edge. Go on to attach your belts. Pretty simple. I used less than a yard of fabric to achieve this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell so you get updates when I post new videos, and I'm going to be seeing you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.